All right, everybody, buckle up. Today, we're diving headfirst into the world of Renaissance alchemy and magic.
That's right. And I bet you're wondering, what could those two possibly have in common?
Exactly. But more importantly, who are we talking about? Some dusty old wizard.
Not quite, although he might have seemed that way to some back then. Today's subject is Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa.
Agrippa. Okay, that name is vaguely ringing a bell, but I need a little more to go on.
Well, picture this. It's the Renaissance, a time of incredible intellectual and artistic flourishing. And you have this guy, Agrippa, who's not just some cloistered scholar. He's a doctor, a lawyer, moves in elite circles, but all the while,
He's got this secret passion for the occult.
you could say that. I mean, this is a guy who genuinely believed he could unlock the secrets of the universe through alchemy and what we now call magic.
Hold on, a lawyer, doctor, wizard. Okay, you've got my attention. So where do we even start with a guy like this? What's the source material for today's deep dive?
His most famous work has to be De Occulta Philosophia. And believe me, it lives up to the title. In it, Agrippa basically lays out his worldview. Think of it as his magnum opus, where he tries to synthesize his vast knowledge of everything from natural philosophy to, well, the occult.
Okay, so what was the core idea in this De Occulta Philosophia?
Agrippa believed there was a hidden order to the universe, a web of interconnected forces that we could tap into. To him, magic wasn't about spells and potions, at least not in the way we might think about it.
So what was it about then?
It was about understanding these natural forces, these hidden connections, and learning how to work with them. Kind of like energy healing or the power of intention today.
Right. So like, if you knew the right buttons to push, so to speak, you could influence reality itself.
Exactly. And he even outlined techniques for this, things like meditation, visualization practices we might consider pretty mainstream today, but were seen as pretty out there back then.
Wow, so this guy was centuries ahead of his time. And you mentioned he was into alchemy. Did he believe in, turning lead into gold and all that?
He did, but not in the literal sense. For Agrippa, alchemy was as much about inner transformation as it was about material transformation. He saw it as a way to purify the soul and attain spiritual enlightenment.
So it's all about tapping into the hidden potential within ourselves and the universe.
Precisely. Now, on top of all of this, Agrippa also put a lot of emphasis on something else, the power of words.
Really?
Yeah.
Like actual words, the things we say. How did that work?
Well, he believed that words weren't just sounds. They held a deeper power. Remember, this is a time when people were rediscovering ancient texts, exploring the power of language in new ways.
Ah, so in a way he was tapping into that ancient wisdom, that idea that words have a kind of magic to them.
Absolutely. And for him, this wasn't just some abstract idea. He provided practical instructions on how to use words, numbers, symbols, he called them, tools, to influence reality.
That almost sounds like modern ideas around manifestation, doesn't
It
it?
really does. It tracks, the power of positive thinking. These are all echoes of Agrippa's ideas about the power of language.
Okay, but I have to ask, if this guy was so influential, so ahead of his time, why haven't I heard more about him?
Well, not everyone was thrilled with his ideas, especially the academic establishment of his time.
Why is that? Were they just intimidated by his genius?
Maybe a little. But more likely, it was his other book, De Vanitate Scientiarum, that ruffled some feathers. In it, he basically calls out academics for being more interested in titles and accolades than in pursuing true wisdom.
Oh, so he was a bit of a rebel then.
You could say that. He wasn't afraid to challenge the status quo, which often got him in trouble.
Well, I can see how that might not make you too many friends among the university faculty, but seriously, what kind of impact did someone like Agrippa have? I mean, he sounds like quite the character.
Well, his ideas were incredibly influential, even centuries after his death. You can find echoes of his work in everything from later alchemical texts to philosophical treatises.
So he's like this hidden figure, quietly influencing Western thought from behind the scenes.
Exactly. And I think his story is a good reminder that what might be dismissed as woo-woo today might actually hold deeper truths if we're willing to look. Maybe there's more to this universe than we realize.
Maybe we all need a little bit of Agrippa's sense of wonder and open-mindedness. Who knows what we might discover if we open ourselves up to new possibilities, right?
Exactly.
Well, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive, but I have a feeling we'll be revisiting Agrippa's ideas again soon.
I'm sure we will. There's always more to uncover.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Until next time, keep exploring.
And keep asking questions.